8:30, headed into work. This is my first summer of working since like right before I started teaching. And not gonna lie, I thought it would be like a big adjustment, but I like it. I like working in the summer, which I know is like a hot take for a lot of teachers, I'm sure, but I used to get really bored, just like really, really bored of working in the summer. But now I have things to do, and the job that I currently have allows me to work from home 2 days a week, and it's pretty easy, not gonna lie. So, still making money. As a teacher, I didn't even get paid in the summer. Less to worry about with that, and we'll see. We're gonna ride this out. Don't know how long this will last with this company, but time will tell, and it's really been an interesting journey, and I've learned a lot about like what I like and what I don't like, and I think that's going to be really, well, I know it's going to be really important moving forward, because I used to think that all I could do was teach, and that's frankly just not true. I've done really well in kind of stepping into this new job because it's so different. It's like such a different lifestyle. I slept in until 6:30 this morning. Never could I have ever done that when I was teaching. Never. It is, like I said, 8:30, and I'm driving into work. I'd be, deep into my first block class at this point. So, huge learning curve, but it's been something that I've accepted and something that I've honestly enjoyed kind of learning about myself through this process. I'm excited to see kind of what's next. When I get to work, I log on to my computer, check emails, all that good stuff, and I actually have the time to do that by myself without being bothered. Lovely standing desk I have here, which seems really small, but it's not. That's not small. Also, what else isn't small are all the free snacks and all the free drinks that we get. Never did that maybe like Teacher Appreciation Week, but that was like a very rare thing, or like when my lovely students would surprise me with Starbucks. Love them for that. But it wasn't a thing to get free things for teaching like that. So, having this time, getting these free like little things throughout the day, that is something that's very different from teaching. I thought that like having to do online meetings would be kind of like a harkening back to COVID teaching, but it's not. You're dealing with adults, and there's like a sense of professionalism that obviously didn't exist during COVID teaching with dealing with students. Awful time. Don't want to go back there for anyone. However, working in this environment where we use online meetings, we have a lot of remote work, it is interesting just to see how that is so different than like the teaching environment. I get to go for a quick little walk on my lunch break and actually sit down on a bench for a minute and just do some reflection. Never would that have happened in teaching. A really solid example of how working in the corporate world is a little different than teaching is I am currently on my lunch break, and I was able to have a really lovely walk. Never would that have happened. I'm going to walk back to work, get those extra steps in, and then when I get back to my desk, I'll eat my lunch, and honestly, will not have missed a beat. If I were to take a space in teaching, there would have been so much to catch up on. There would have been people who needed to see me. I would have been paged by the front office at this point. So I think just having this autonomy and the space to kind of be a human, that's something I never really got in teaching. So just breathing outside, fresh air, and moving my body, and really appreciate the time and the space. It's 3 o'clock. I am driving home right now, I'm driving home at 3 o'clock. I have to go let my dog out, and then I just continue my work day from there. Again, something that never, ever, ever could have happened with teaching. And I just kind of do like a working lunch to try to make up for my time. And honestly, that's really just for myself. Really, no one cares. But I get all my stuff done, and my puppy's happy, and there's just so much freedom involved. I don't feel stuck. I don't have to constantly have this like mode of operation where like the dog and pony show of making everybody happy. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still moments where I have to interact with people and I have to show up a certain way or maintain professionalism, but ultimately, you know, I'm not bombarded. My nervous system has opportunities to relax. Never could that have happened in the 16 years that I taught. So I don't know. I'm not completely dissing teaching. There was so much that I got out of teaching, and there's so many beautiful people that I met. I learned so much about myself and about the world and about all my colleagues who are like really hard workers, because teaching is really difficult. But ultimately, my life is improved by not being a teacher, and that took me 16 years to figure out. So I don't know, just something to think about. Those of you who are currently teachers, those of you who are not teachers, and you have any ounce of disrespect for teachers, you better check yourself, because they are some of the hardest working people who show up every single day and deal with people who don't want to be there. They do not want to be there, and you have to convince them to learn. You have to convince them to show up as, you know, their better selves. And it's such a difficult job, day in and day out, with very little support, very little money. It's definitely a heartfelt position, and something that should be respected, because it's really hard to do. So, as I'm driving home at 3 o'clock to go let my puppy out. So I don't want to like completely bash teaching. It's something that was a part of my life for a really long time, and it's something that I grew so much in, and there were some really, really, really beautiful things that came out of teaching. Life after teaching has also taught me a lot of things, and it's taught me that teachers really aren't treated that well in the United States, and honestly, it's pretty disheartening that when I left teaching, I got an immediate raise. My life is a lot easier. There's a lot less stress. My nervous system is like finally being allowed to relax a little bit. So, yes, teaching is really hard, but there are also a lot of beautiful things that come from teaching. And I found this, and these are student notes that I've collected from over the years. And I kind of wanted to do a little tour, and just kind of show that there are good things that come from teaching. And most of that is because of the people that you interact with. These people who, you know, are young students who become older people, and really, really awesome to see their lives as they blossom. I mean, this is from literally my first time teaching. First sentence: I know that I'm a really big pain at times. I know you were about ready to throw me out the window. I really want you to know that I really appreciate all that you do. You do so much for us, and we never give you anything back. That alone, messages like this, that's what makes all of the difficulties worth it. Students thanking me for writing them a recommendation letter. Students thanking me for coaching them. Parents leaving me a letter, a note, after a season of coaching. Again, from my first time teaching. This is like back in 2007, 2008, and I was in an inner city school, and it was really hard, but it taught me so much. And this student took the time to write me this note. I really enjoy your class. I hope you have a great summer, and I hope I have you next year. Like, it's little things that just the time that they take to reach back out and interact with you, that's what makes all the difference. This one ends with, always remember me. Never throw this away. Promise. Aisha, living proof that I never threw this away. And this was, back in the early 2000s. So they stick with you. I mean, to this day, I still have kids on Facebook who will comment whenever Teacher Appreciation Week comes out. Here's a prom picture. Like, how sweet. It's just the sweetest things. And it's just the ability to come in contact with such amazing people who are at a time in their lives where they don't have to trust you. They don't have to believe that your efforts are, for their own good, but they do. They learn to trust you, and they learn to believe that you're doing the best that you can, and they choose to show up with the best that they have. And that's what makes teaching really beautiful. All these like relationships, the give and take of the classroom. And even like with colleagues, like being able to talk to other people who are doing the same thing as you, that's a lifesaver, because sometimes you feel like you're crazy, you feel like you're insane. Like, did this really happen today? Is this really how I'm feeling about what happened? Did that person really say this to me in this moment? And sometimes it's just like mind boggling. But then you turn around and you have people to talk to about it, and you have moments like this where you get to look back and just really appreciate the fact that these are people who sat in front of you for hours on end, and most of the time did what you asked them to do, and now are adult humans going about in the world, and they carry that part of you with them. And that's just such a cool thing. And that's something my current job doesn't really provide. So while teaching is really difficult, it can be really beautiful. And if nothing else, the impact and the connection that you have with your students, I think that's a really, really powerful thing, and something that you can really only get after years in a classroom, and understanding that this does come from it. You get to see these people grow up and become whoever it is they're going to become, and that's such a joy.